Hey guys, Jake Spurley, founder, Fair and Event, fairandevent.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you are doing well every day, not just today. In this video, we're going to be talking about branding and why it's important to your event. When you think about the biggest brands in the world, Nike, Amazon, Adidas, Google, whenever I say that word or anybody says that word, we can instantly think of, the Nike swoosh, the Amazon arrow, the Google G with their four main colors. We know brands by their colors, their logos, and what they do. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and that's something that you in your event need to take advantage of and think about going forward. We're in a brand heavy, very crowded market when it comes to marketing, and the best thing you can do is to keep it simplistic so that when somebody just sees your logo or your icon, bam, they know exactly what they're looking at and they recognize your brand to that logo quickly. Let's get into 4 things to think about when we're talking about branding. The first one starts with C. I feel like we're playing, like Hangman or something here, but we'll go with colors. So why are colors important? A couple reasons. A very famous designer once told me, and I had no idea, but colors evoke emotion. And it's when you think about the Fair and Event logo, it's darker blue and it's orange. The darker blue for us meant, the more serious, more, straightforward feel. But the orange was kind of that energetic, upbeat, fun aspect of our logo because that's the industry that we're in. We're in the industry of experiences and having fun and having a good time. And if you've worked with us at all before, you know that we like to have a good time and we like to be upbeat, energetic, and really one big Fair and Event family. So think about colors. For your event, every event should be different. What emotions do you want to invoke in your attendees when they see your logo? Is it a B2B event? Is it a B2C event? Is it a festival? Festival, you're probably going to want more joyful colors. You should also think about the season of the event. If you guys only run, your event is one time a year, you should think about when does that event happen. If it's in the winter, maybe you should think about winter colors, your reds, your blues, your whites. If it's in the fall time, maybe it should be your oranges and your yellows, browns, whatever that might look like to you. You have to figure that out and think about what feelings you want to invoke with that. Don't forget, the most popular color in logo world are the blues. So blues are a color that so many brands use. Sometimes it's hard to cut through the noise with a blue logo. Just keep that in mind. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying a lot of logos do use blue. So figure out your colors. Keep it to 1, 2, 3 is pushing it. Your main colors really should be 1 or 2, and then maybe a few accent colors. Just kind of highlight those 2 main colors there. In the color topic, so many folks, they have colors, but then they use a different color for this, different color for this. Keep the branding consistent. Any color that you use for absolutely anything should be done in those colors that you pick. Write them down, write the hex codes down, write the red, green, blue, whatever values down so that everybody has it and communicate that to your team. The second one is going to be logo. Logo is probably the most important thing. When you think Nike, you think of the swoosh. When you think of Amazon, you think of the arrow. Google, so on, Adidas. We could go on and on forever. Folks like simplistic logos. And it's not just that they like it, it's that our brains have so much going on at one time. It's easy to remember simple things and it's more difficult to remember complex images. If you ask me to depict, hey, what's in the Mona Lisa, I could not tell you probably one thing about it because it's a very complex, very intriguing design. It's a masterpiece, right? But when you say, hey, tell me what's Nike's logo, I could say, oh, it's the swoosh. It's easy. I don't see the Nike logo every day or often, but I just know because it was so simplistic, it stays in my head. Think about your logo the exact same way. Complex, especially in events, is not the way to go. You want to go as simple as possible. What's the saying? My grandmother used to always tell me, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I think she was emphasizing the stupid part on that, but I'll take it. Number 3 is going to be graphics. So when you talk about graphics, what we mean here is not only your logo and your colors. We're talking about your social media images, your your flyers, if you use paper or newspaper advertising, any piece of content, image, banner, whatever it is, has to match not only your logo, but also your colors as well. If these two are not consistent in any piece of graphic or content in a video that you create, you are then just, not only are you wasting your graphic space, but you're also just not keeping a consistent brand. When you don't keep a consistent brand, it subconsciously kind of manipulates the attendee's mind of, well, wait, I was used to this, now it's this, like, what is it? They get confused. And when you start confusing people with inconsistent graphics and branding, is then when you almost have to start over in some times of creating new colors. Maybe you have to do a logo refresh, whatever that might look like. Point here, guys, is any piece of content, imagery, graphics, banners, whatever it is that has your logo on it or is about your event has to be consistent with your colors and your logo. Every single time, zero exceptions. Unless it's April Fool's Day, I guess. That's the only exception. Number 4 starts with a W. We're going to go website. So many times we see events with, I don't want to say subpar websites, but websites that were thrown together 5-10 years ago, and they're there. It works. It gets the information across. We are in a tech-heavy world, and your website not only has to be consistent with your wording, your brand, your branding, but it has to be converting. There are so many events happening every single day. Why should an attendee pick your event over somebody else's event? Or why should they pick your event over going out to dinner or going to a movie or something else? Your website has to convert, and your website has to have the consistent colors, logo, and graphics that hold true to your brand. I think there is sometimes people put this big, huge line here of like, oh, well, branding is just for kind of the brand, the marketing aspect. Your website is arguably your biggest marketing tool. You can't forget it. Your website is usually your biggest marketing tool. So you have to erase that line and think of this whole thing as one big package, that anytime you're changing this, you have to think about this. If you're changing this, you have to think about this. It's kind of like a four-legged tower. If you take one out, the rest can crumble. If you take out the colors, you don't really have a logo, your graphics are subpar, and your website should just be black and white at that point. So whenever you're thinking about branding, think about it holistically with all 4 of these points in mind. If you found this video helpful, please send it to a colleague, a friend. We are really trying to help out our industry with content and just education for all of us to be better at producing events. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it down in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them. If you have any other video suggestions you'd like us to produce to help you get more educated, we'd be happy to entertain that as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.